Welcome to Kleine Zalze in Stellenbosch, South Africa. I am RJ Botha. I am the cellar master for Kleine Zalze, so I look after all the wines, all the vineyards, and all the production. So Kleine Zalze is quite unique in the fact that we are very much part of the town. We like to say that we are a urban winery. You know, we've got houses on the estate, we have the lodge on the estate, we have a golf course on the estate. You know, so it's all sort of part of town, but it's all the good things in life together. So just an amazing concept. So it's a very unique concept in the world. So most of what we have planted here is Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet in Stellenbosch is really exciting. The quality is really exceptional. And I'll show you a little bit about the soils now, what makes it so exceptional. So Stellenbosch is famous because there's 3 mountains. So you've got the Helderberg, you've got Stellenbosch Mountain, and then if you just look over this, you can't see it because of the vineyards, there's the Simonsberg. So those are the 3 main mountains, and it's because of the mountains, it creates sort of a amphitheater. So if you're on a clear day, the ocean is right there. So right behind this little hill is the ocean. You can actually see the Table Mountain on that side, you can see Cape Point and everything. So exactly what you feel now is the summer breeze. It comes from the southeast, so it blows from the ocean onto here. So you can feel how cool it is. So there's a cooling effect. So if the wind wasn't blowing, the temperatures would be insane. But there's this cooling effect that we get from the ocean. So we want this cooling effect. You can see the breeze blowing. It's from the ocean, cooling the grapes, cooling the growing. And then we have soils in that we work with is predominantly granite. So this is just a big piece of granite. This entire hill is basically on one big rock of granite. So this is a piece, but most of it is already decomposed. So if you look at this, you know, this is mostly granite. All of that is granite. Those little white pieces are all granite, they're granitic soils. So it's just this broken down. And then we have these, which we call coffee stone. So it's called coffee stone. It's a very iron-rich pebble, and this we find right through the entire profile. So for us, this is important. It's the granitic soils with this coffee stone. Yeah. So you can see the vineyards are still growing a little bit. They need to stop growing now, sort of in December. But you can see they've already slowed down, and it looks like there's quite a good crop. So yeah, but at the moment it really looks like a good harvest to come. With the design of these vineyards, as I mentioned, they are quite open because we also have a new pruning system where we have less bearers, so they are naturally quite open. So you can see we haven't done anything here. We did one suckering, maybe a second suckering, but it's quite open. You can see the bunches, they are nice. The only thing that we will come and do now is we will come and remove some of these bunches closer to harvest. When we have at about 80% veraison, we will come through and we'll drop the bunches that hasn't colored yet. Yeah. So we'll remove all of those bunches. But at the moment, it looks like a really good crop. Yeah. In Stellenbosch never gets a lot of fruit. So for us, if we can get anything between 8 and 10 tons a hectare, we are happy. Yeah. So on this, there's Cabernet Sauvignon, a little bit of Chardonnay, a little bit of Cabernet Franc, a little bit of Merlot, and a little bit of Syrah. But it's mostly Cabernet Franc. Cabernet Sauvignon. Yeah. Yeah, Chenin Blanc, and Cabernet Sauvignon. Yeah. We bring all the grapes in here. We've got these big. We can take big trucks, or we can do forklifts. Yeah. So these days it's mostly forklifts and in bins, but yeah, we do have some producers that still has the very old school way of bringing grapes. This winery can do about 2,000 tons. Yeah. So you'll see there's a lot of elevation at the bottom. So you can see these are also combi tanks. So it's a tank at the bottom, but there's another tank at the top. So at the top we do red wines, pump overs from here. The white wines, or the bottom, we use to do settling of white wines. Yeah, of the juice. So when we settle, then we rack them off into another tank, and then. Most of the Chenin and the Chardonnay that we produce here is barrel fermented, so it goes directly into barrel. And then we've got concrete eggs, and we've got another 4 coming, so we'll have 8 concrete eggs next year. Yeah, it builds a lot of texture, and the shape is the important thing, because there's a natural movement of the wine inside because of the shape. But there's a definite influence of the concrete as well. Because on the inside they are raw concrete. On the outside they just made smooth, but the inside is raw concrete. But the main effect of it is the movement of the wine inside the eggs. Yeah, so this is red wine barrels with some white wine as well, and some terracotta amphoras. Yeah, so we import them from Italy. The major challenge is that it's actually got a very big open space here. Oh. So that's the major challenge. So you've got your control of the head space, so you get a lid on, and you can see the lid there. But the biggest issue is, the temperature needs to be constant, because otherwise the wine does this, so it swells and does that. So it's controlling the temperature so that you don't have the expansion of the wine inside it, because otherwise you're either going to push it out and then you're going to have an ullage again. And then this space here is quite a big area, surface area for oxygen. So we check them daily. It's make sure that they are full 100%, make sure that there's no issues, because this is quite a large area. So for me, that's the biggest issues with them. Oh. And they are labor intensive.
Hello, welcome to Zorgvliet Wine Estate. My name is Bernard Leroux and I am the cellar master here. I'm responsible for the wine production on the wine farm. So I'm just driving around. You'll see that we've got some vineyards here. These soils are more clay rich, like duplex soils. So I've got leached upper, you see the gravelly upper levels, and then at the base is a lot of clay. So that's mostly what we have here, and then up there, that's also our vineyards there up in the mountain there. So we'll drive up there now and I'll show you. The name Banghoek, I actually haven't explained that to you. It means bang in Afrikaans or Dutch means scary. So and a hoek is it's like a valley or corner place. So you have Franschhoek around the corner. That was named after the French. And a hoek is like a valley. If you wanted to travel to the other towns in the area from Stellenbosch, this was the shortest route. But it was scary because there were a lot of wild animals here, and apparently a lot of bandits that live here in the mountains and hijack the travelers, and so the people just said this is the scary place, just don't go here. But then of course they started farming here and taming the land. So at first it was called De Bangehoek, the Dutch was, and then it became Banghoek, and now today some people only refer to Banhoek. This mountain, this is called the Simonsberg.
This one is the same as
Yes.
well. Yeah, okay.
And then that is part of the Jonkershoek Mountains, and that's the Banghoek Mountains. Yeah, so we get some snow, but not for a prolonged period. So maybe August months we get like for a week or two we'll have some snow, and then it melts. Yeah. But over there it'll be for like a month or two we'll have some snow. It's really pretty. It is tricky. Those vineyards were established before I started working here, but they are all terraced.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of hectares up there, so it's not like it's yeah. And everybody who works on the farm, we know how to farm those vineyards. That's about 2 hectares up there.
Okay.
And we can mechanize. We go up there with tractors, but it is tricky. We have to spray. They have to reverse in and drive out. And when we harvest, we also take our time. Certainly, when there's any moisture in the soil, we can't work up there. The tractors slide and slip, and it's dangerous. But
They irrigated as well?
yes, they do have irrigation. This is always a good view to show people of the geology. You know, it's the whole winelands. We have this table mountain sandstone. So those ridges and those lines up in those mountains, that's all sandstone.
Yeah.
That was deposited many millions of years ago. And then at the base of that mountain, it's all granite. So what happens with the geology is that our soils are all a mixture of the sandstone that erodes from the top, and then the granite at the base. So the granite gives all the clay, and the sandstone gives the soil. So all our soils are a mixture of more, different versions of granite and sandstone.
Yeah.
So you'll see our viticulture is not, at least our weed control, for instance, it's not strict. It's not like we trying to kill everything.
Yeah.
We don't farm organically, but we try to farm sustainably. Yeah, so we try to take away some of the competition, but I always like to see some weeds growing. It's not like we're trying to have this monoculture.
Right.
This part of the valley is lucky. There's a lot of wind down in the bottom of the valley and on that side of the valley, but not here. So yeah, so this is a good view of the valley. This is our little local town. It's called Kylemore, and it's where a lot of our workers live. And then you'll see all the farms. And then this wind that we're feeling now is like a southwest, west-southwest. This is prefrontal. Normally in the Cape we have southwest, and then it goes southeast and southwest, and then when the rain comes, it switches to northwest, and then the rain comes and it's back to southeast, southwest. So our predominant wind in the summer is southeast, and it comes down the valley like this.
Right.
And then it drops down the mountain, and the poor guys living down there, they get a lot of wind, a lot of strong wind. But up here it's just like this. It's just nice. It's like an air conditioner. It's just nice and cool. It's costly to construct like this, but you have the benefit that you can very quickly empty your tanks into the press. The grape skins can drop into the press very quickly without having to pump the grape skins. It gives you, I believe, a better quality press juice. If you don't have your tanks elevated, the only way you can get the skins, as you know, get the skins into the press is to pump the skins with some wine, and it's never beneficial. You always extract more astringency that way. So this works very well for us. No, we take a break in the middle of the year in the winter, and then we take a break now in the summer. And we're fortunate that it's warm now and it's summery in South Africa. Where in the northern hemisphere it's cold and it's wet, and it's maybe not the time of the year that people want to take a long vacation, but it's the best weather now to go to the beach. So it's a good thing in South Africa. good time to take a break. Yeah, it's good to reference your old wines when you're making new blends, and so next year I'll draw some of these wines and see how we can improve on what we've done before. I think for Bordeaux style wines you need a bit of oaking. Yeah, I mean, those wines are so structured. Cabernet, at least the terroir that we have and the styles of wines that we make, they're quite tannic and they have a lot of weight, and so you need the support of a good oak regime. So these alone don't, you can't make wine. If you were making Cinsault and Syrah and Grenache and those things, maybe you could employ these more effectively, but not for Bordeaux style wines. Once you've made our blends, once you've finished your maturation, if you want to do a further maturation, sure. I mean, that's yeah, you could use them, but.
So welcome to La Pommier. We are a very, very small wine farm, right? And by the way, my name is Mark. So a very small wine farm, 6.8 hectares of vineyards only. We produce roughly 40,000 bottles per year per harvest, and we don't have the wine cellar on our estate either. So the farm next door, you can see it roughly a little bit on the far distance from here, and that is called Zorfleet. So the owners of the farm bought these two farms in 1999, but currently it's owned by their son and daughter. So they do the exchange in 2014, and then now the owner of Zorfleet is the brother, and the sister is owning La Pommier. But you know, both of the farms makes equally good wine. So there is not a thing as a bad wine. That is what I will say. It's everybody's own personal opinion, personal preference, but they make our wines for us, Zorfleet. So we just give them all the information, all the necessary instructions they need to do, and then we will follow on our own brand, and they obviously on their brand. But when it comes to wine, each person's got a unique palate, sense of taste. But now currently the structure of La Pommier's wines, we want to accommodate everybody's palate. Like I said before, we only have 6.8 hectares of vineyards, roughly 40,000 bottles per year. We produce currently 6 wines. A Sauvignon Blanc, very unique rosé, and one of the uniquest red blends you can find, and then 100% varietal of that blend. So then we have 100% Cabernet Franc and 100% Malbec. So the 6th wine, which I didn't mention now, which is a newcomer into our line, which make up 6 wines. So this is our newly made Chardonnay. So this is the first time ever that we made a Chardonnay. So you know, we normally sold that grapes to a different farm. Obviously they made award-winning wine with our grapes. So if they can do it, why can't we? But this one that we made, much more subtle, much more fresh, more fruitiness, but lots of mineral textures on the end of the palate. You know, La Pommier, also, you probably noticed that the name is French, so meaning apple tree. The farm, all the vineyards that you see in front of you and on the right, and there's a small block on the left hand side. So these are all our vineyards. So La Pommier only use the grapes that grown on the farm. So we don't buy any grapes from outside. So we only use the grapes that's grown on the farm to make our wines. So that's why small wine farm like this, you can make constant quality good wines. You can make award-winning wine each year. So, but we're the only wine farm in this whole valley who has 100% Malbec, which are made from our own grapes. You know, these wines was obviously brought over, grafted and then planted here. So you can't compare a French Cabernet Franc or Argentinian Malbec from where it comes from. But our Malbec and Cabernet Franc is one, I think, personal opinion, I think it's one of the best in the region. So, it all depends on your palate. That's the main thing about wine, personal opinion, personal preference, and if you like something, you like it, if you don't, you don't. Our wines, I don't want to brag about La Pommier's wines, but our wines actually are all sold out normally as soon as the new vintages arrive. So the vintages that we have now, currently is all our 2023. That these grapes were actually picked this year, February and March, and harvesting is normally February and March. So all our grapes are hand-picked. We don't use any machine. So you lose lots of quality, lots of structure, lots of flavor when it comes to that. So hand-pick early in the mornings, you will get much more proper, fruitier, structured grapes. So the offering that we have at La Pommier, obviously we've got accommodation, we've got the restaurant. On the wine side, we've got 2 different food and wine pairing. We've got a pizza pairing and then a South African pairing. With a small farm like this and certain views like this, you know, if you have a glass of wine here or maybe like do a wine tasting here, you buy that bottle, you take it to somewhere else. That texture and that flavor won't be the same because you in that ambiance of the place, the atmosphere of the place. With this type of view, I think any bottle of wine will get better by just looking at that view, right?
Very true.
And I actually grew up in this valley. So the owners of the farm, they actually originally, they're all South African. They were in the mining industry. That's how they became on getting these on the wines farm.
Hi, welcome to Alluvia Boutique Winery in the Banhoek Valley in Stellenbosch. We're standing here in the Cabernet Sauvignon vineyard, and that is one of Alluvia's specialities. At the farm we make Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet Franc and Cabernet Sauvignon. This vineyard is about 20 years old, and we make some beautiful cab from it. In terms of the wine styles, the Sauvignon Blanc we're making is a really fruit-forward style. It's made in stainless steel with a slightly warmer fermentation to give us really nice thiol flavors like granadilla. The Cabernet Sauvignon, we're doing a really traditional Stellenbosch cab, quite big and bold. The special thing about Alluvia wines is they're all really age-worthy. So what we've done at the winery is we've been keeping them and cellaring them so that you can enjoy vintages that have a little bit of age on them, and they're ready to drink. So for example, we're selling the 2018 and 2019 Cab Sav and Cabernet Franc. And the Cabernet Franc, I suppose, is our flagship here at Alluvia. We make a beautiful Cabernet Franc with really austere, tight, chalky tannins, and I'm really excited to be working as part of this project. These vineyards are on an amazing terroir. So Banhoek is a really special microclimate. In Stellenbosch we get really high rainfall. The soils have a high content of clay, so as you can see by the size of these vines, we've been tipping and topping them quite a lot because they just want to grow. It's a very vigorous soil, so with the amount of water and the high potential soils, we actually have to pull the vines back a bit. As you can see, we've also got cover crop. So yeah, we're just doing a bit of canopy management, opening up the vines, exposing the bunches, so we get good sunshine into the vines for the season. Another benefit of this beautiful cool climate is we get a long ripening period on the vines here. Luckily we didn't have any damage this year from the flooding. A bit of soil erosion, but luckily we've got the cover crop, so that's really kept to a minimum. But unlike some other regions where they had a lot of rain this year. But no, it's looking very good. If there's a little bit of unevenness in the vineyards, but normally what happens is by the time we get to veraison and ripening, the vineyards catch up. So we might be seeing a little bit of unevenness now in the vineyards. If you look at maybe these berries are a bit smaller than those, but by the time we get to harvest, things normally tend to catch up.
Hi, I'm Louw Lombard. I'm the marketing manager and communications manager for Alluvia. And this is my colleague Elisma. She's the general manager of the farm. We're a boutique winery and hotel located outside of Stellenbosch, in the beautiful Banhoek Mountains, as you will see a little bit later outside. Our offering includes luxury accommodation, wine tastings. We've got a bistro-style restaurant with an executive chef with amazing meals for our guests. And then we also got a spa facility on the farm. Activities on the farm include fishing, mountain biking, hiking, croquet, and also archery. And I think we've got a decent offering and a nice offering for tourists around South Africa.
I think to join on to that, we're a hidden gem. So many guests that arrives here that says, we didn't know you were here. We drive past, and we didn't even know you were here. We are boutique, so we can only sleep up to 32 people in luxury accommodation, as Louw mentioned. And then we've got the beautiful swimming pool, so that's a big attraction as well, especially overseas clients. When they book Cape Town area, especially in the summer, they want a swimming pool, and not everyone offers that. And then what sells Alluvia is the view on the mountain. So many other places has got beautiful restaurants, but the restaurants are not facing the mountain, it's facing the road or something like that. And we've got this beautiful, beautiful view. So our picnics and our weddings very popular. So we have very popular wedding spot as well. And then restaurant, accommodation, spa, all those offerings.